Welcome to Salve, a therapeutic podcast for digital ailments. We're here to ease your online aches and entrepreneurial anxieties, one session at a time. With our host, Jordan Brannon, and today's guest, Miki Palet from Tailride. Today's worrying condition? The profuse bleeding caused by an algorithm penalty from Google.
Hello, everyone. This is Jordan Brannon, and I am back with another episode of Salve, the podcast from Coalition, where we treat your digital ailments. Those things that make you feel unwell, keep you up at night, and make you seek some medical attention for your digital campaigns, whatever they may be. Today, we're going to be dealing with the profuse bleeding that happens when you've encountered a manual or automated penalty from Google for your SEO campaign. I'm really excited to talk with my friend Miki, who has some context to offer, unfortunately, around that particular experience. Miki, maybe you could quickly introduce yourself and your business, and we'll jump into this pain point.
Thanks, Jordan. It's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, we've had some big pains surrounding SEO. I'm the founder of Tailride. Tailride is a finance automation software that focuses on pre-accounting. And basically, we started not long ago, around a year ago. And we started playing around with SEO, and now, we had some difficulties which are going to talk in today.
Yeah. So give me a little bit of background for the business. So you started this yourself. Do you have partners that are working with you? Like, what was sort of the inspiration to jump into accounting?
Yeah, so I had a previous business here in Spain, which was very, very focused on education, and it was a big business. We were around 80 people, and we had big nightmares with accounting, with all the pre-accounting stuff that our accountants were not handling, and we had to handle ourselves. So I just left. I started this software company because I always loved software, and I said, let's tackle this pain point which we had in this company. And right now I'm just hiring my first employees, but we've already have some big clients, and the idea is to keep automating more pre-accounting stuff, which is very, very painful.
Awesome. So you have a little bit of experience starting, running, growing a business, scaling it, and make the decision to pivot to this particular focus area. You have the initial app built, software built, and you're starting marketing for it. And that's about where our conversation really starts with this pain point. Is that kind of an accurate recap?
Exactly. Yeah, we started marketing it maybe on January this year, and that's when we started with our marketing efforts.
Okay. So you start marketing, and like a lot of small business owners, a lot of people in that startup mindset, especially those with a little bit of code background, there's this beautiful thing called AI. And you're probably thinking, hey, AI knows a lot, writes a lot, can do a lot of things. I'm by myself. I certainly don't have the time to do. What were some of the initial ways that you used AI as a startup founder? And maybe just briefly, what worked, what didn't work, what particular LLMs did you like, which ones didn't you? I mean, just maybe a little bit of helpful tooling around there could be good to learn about too.
Yeah, so just at the beginning, I was already using Cursor, which as a developer, it was helping me incredibly. So basically, I was coding, 5 times faster just by using Cursor. I said, this is amazing. I'm sure that we can take this amazing tool and use it to maybe market our app or similar things, right? And basically that's how the initial thought appeared, and the rest is history.
So you started coding, and again, for background, a lot of our developers, they like to talk about Cursor as like a really helpful junior developer. They work on their prompting. They have Cursor sort of give them initial code they're able to review. Sometimes working prototype. Is that sort of how you flowed with Cursor?
Yeah, at the beginning, it was, I mean, it was very initial cursor stage. I think that they had just launched. So it was kind of not very intelligent. And basically, we were using it to fix our bugs, fix our problems. So yeah, it was very superficial at that moment. But over time, it has become much better, much more intelligent. And right now, I mean, you could call it a junior developer, but I think that it can do better right now.
Okay. All right. So you have a little more confidence in that. So you made the switch though. You started to think like, hey, maybe this is going to work for marketing. What were the first things that you asked your AI companion to do? And was it specifically work with Cursor, or were you using a different platform at this point? Or did you try, if you kind of give us a little, where that marketing journey began?
Yeah, so I just chose SEO because I had some background using it. It's true that I had never applied AI to it, so yeah, well, my efforts were much more in a little scale. But yeah, I also at the same time I was seeing a lot of things online which talk about using AI on SEO, and I thought, well, why not give it a try, right? And then basically I said, well, we can start building some scripts using Cursor. I know how AI works. I know how to fit it good content so that the content that it outputs, it's not actually just AI, but also something that looks like a human. And with these first scripts that I was creating, basically the idea was to create like 50 pages at the same time, 100 pages at most at the same time, by just scraping some websites for information and then fitting it to this script with a prompt, and basically trying and outputting something that we could then load on a page and use this as well as programmatic SEO pages that could work good with SEO.
What were some of the strategies you used to try and humanize your content more? Because I think what I see a lot when I look at Reddit, I look at some other SEO forums, is AI content doesn't get penalized. And if you humanize it a little bit, it's going to be okay. We've seen some case studies, we've run some tests that say otherwise. You're a bit of evidence of that. But what was your humanization strategy? What did that look like?
Yeah, so the first thing that we did was kind of trying to play with the prompt so that it would, well, just playing and changing the prompt and checking how the output looked like, right? So we kind of just tested maybe 50 different iterations of the prompt to see how it was performing. And well, through this is that it was working pretty well because we were giving very specific instructions like don't use this kind of words. Yeah, don't use slashes, or don't use things that only AI uses, right? And the content looked great, I believe. So I don't. I don't think that it was purely AI, and we will talk later about what the problem was. But this first 50, 100 pages actually looked pretty well. So yeah, we started like having less confidence in it, and as it developed and as it started working, then we started making mistakes and overlooking some of these steps.
So in terms of your prompting, it was mainly sort of specific, maybe negative instructions, exclude the
Yeah.
infamous M dash, get rid of the sort of really effusive, it loves these sort of hype words that, like it loves to throw in. Did you give it any instructions around readability level, word count, how to structure, paragraphs, things like that?
Yeah, we tried and just also giving some context on our website, on our actual business, on the articles, on the input that we are feeding them, on the number of words that it had to use to be a long form posts. Also, something very important is that we already asked the AI to output the content in Markdown format so that we could just take it and paste it on our pages, and the like the format was already done. And yeah, some of the important things that we did back then was also trying and chaining different models. So maybe we asked, I don't know what was the model back then, but the GPT 3.5 to output content, then having Claude to review it, and just trying to change some of the prompts so that the content was getting better in each time.
So you're running through a sequence of AIs to try and get to a more human thing. And you liked what you were seeing, right? You were seeing results that you thought were pretty good and you were pretty happy with?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, we just started 50, 100 pages, which all of them were run for our case. They were return pages that basically return pages for e-commerce companies, right? I don't know, return page for Amazon, but not Amazon, but smaller companies. And while they were very accurate articles, they were long form. And when we actually published them, they were working well. I mean, they were ranking and they were bringing us some views, and also they were bringing clients. I mean, they were bringing new users, right? So that's well, the second part of it was the where the mistake was, and is that we tried doing this at scale, and not with 50, not with 100 pages in which we were reviewing a lot of the content manually, but doing with this with, well, up to 50,000 pages, which is what we did at the end.
So it was sort of that rapid scaling, which you think got you into trouble. You were seeing results, though, I mean, which I think is important. And I think one of the things we talk about with our clients about the AI involvement is you have to see it, if you're going to do it, as a short-term strategy with a risk, especially when you begin to scale. And so you have to kind of be balancing that. How much do I scale? How much risk am I willing to stomach? You guys went all in. You went from 50 to 100 pages. Would you say the terms that you were ranking for were pretty competitive with the AI copy, or were they kind of moderately competitive terms?
No, I think they were actually moderate. I don't know. I don't think that they were difficult terms to rank for. It's true that, as context, also, as we had just launched the business, like our domain had very little authority, very little backlinks. I mean, we almost had we didn't have any kind of backlink that proved that we were a legitimate business that wasn't trying to spam on Google, right? So I believe that at the beginning, yes, 50, 100 pages was nothing crazy. But then as we, as I was saying, gain confidence, and also the thing that AI makes it very easy to do it at scale, right? You see that, okay, so for 100 pages, it's working, but with the same, almost with the same effort, I can do 100,000. And if I do 100,000, maybe I see the same results that I see with 100, but multiplied by 20, right? Or 200.
It seems like a magic wand, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, man, like this is pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's what our thought process looked like. I mean, we didn't have any AI experience with SEO, right? So also it was new, and we didn't think that there was much risk in it, right? But well, it did.
I think one of the things that we've seen a lot being pushed in SEO forums is this idea that it just can't do harm. And almost always it's based off of a small use case. A local business runs some AI copy for a plumber, probably on a domain that's been around for 10 years, has had, 500 other blogs that have been published in that time, written by human writers for most of it. And they start adding an AI copy, and they don't see sort of a big downside. They maybe even see some wins like you did. Do you feel like that's part of the problem with sort of the AI SEO strategies that are out there today, is that maybe they're just a little too, the scale isn't great to sort of have a real test. And then beyond that, it's, perhaps it's also a very mixed bag of testing. It's not necessarily something where you can pin it and say like the results really only come from the AI copy strategy.
Yeah, 100%. I think that it's something that, happened to us. I believe that if we had what you're mentioning, if we had a domain that was around for 10 years, if we already had some pages that were ranking, that were working, that were bringing traffic, and we also had important backlinks, I don't know if the penalty would have come. Probably yes, because we would probably kept creating more and more pages. But for sure, it would have taken more time to come.
Okay. And in terms of sort of that pain point, oh, actually, maybe I want to rewind. We'll do one more question on sort of the AI copy strategy piece. Had you looked at any case studies, looked at any forums that talked about sort of AI copy not having any risks that sort of maybe influence your decision to scale more rapidly?
Yeah, I mean, I was following a couple people on Twitter, on Reddit, that were
Hmm.
talking almost about AI SEO, and yeah, they were talking about these strategies. So yeah, I just thought that they were mentioning that they were working, so I could try it. I could try them out myself and make them work for me.
One of our theories at Coalition has been, and we think we've got a pretty good proof case for it, is that Google and others are looking at fingerprinting retroactively. So they don't necessarily have early access to the training and weighting of a model. And so they have to do that after the fact. And so there's this fingerprint that can be established as we go through some of these different models. And within 3 to 6 months, we generally see sort of the life cycle of AI copy seem to sort of fall off after a new model is published. Now, you had about how long of a run where you were seeing good results with that scaled AI copy? Um, and then did you sort of hit a wall around an algorithm update, or was it separate from an algorithm update? Love to get those three questions answered.
Yeah, so we were seeing results for around 3 months. Maybe it was kind of we were growing. These 3 months, it was not kind of stable, but we kept growing our traffic, and then we just hit a wall around the second week of March, and yeah, it was basically it went to absolutely zero. I mean, it fell to completely zero, and it was not just when an update was pushed, but I think that maybe 2 or 3 weeks after that. So we are actually not sure if that's what triggered it. But yeah, it was kind of close to one of the Google updates.
So you at a couple weeks after, and you said you dropped to zero. The whole domain, everything from search just went nothing.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you mind sharing the URL that you're using at the time? Because I know sort of the end story here was, one of the strategies was actually to switch to a new domain. And did you even rebrand? Maybe touch on those.
Yeah, so we were using a domain that was called getinvoice.com, and basically all the traffic dropped to absolutely zero, and also the index pages that we had on Google, they did not drop to zero immediately, but over the next 3 to 4 months, like we all the maybe there were 30,000 pages that were indexed. We finished with one index page, which was our homepage, right?
Okay.
And then, I mean, our reaction was obviously, let's see what this is. We hadn't received the penalty, so we started looking at forums where we started asking to people, and really nobody really knew what was happening with our domain. Most of them just said that they had never seen that. We also paid a couple of SEO consultants to look at our domain and try and see what was happening. And well, we were also seeing like very, very conflicting answers, right? Some of them, they were saying, yeah, you have an algorithmic penalty because there was no manual penalty on Search Console, so we didn't know why we had the drop. And another consultant was saying that basically the search intent was changing on the pages that we had ranked, and that it was not penalty. It was not a penalty, but just that the search intent on the pages had changed, and we had stopped appearing on the search results, right? So we started finding or trying to find a solution to it. First, finding what the problem was. We actually never found out what was happening. Obviously, we tried contacting to Google, but nobody answered ever. So we didn't know what to do. And the first thing that we did was try and remove all these AI pages that we had generated at scale. That's like we did that maybe 2 weeks after the penalty, and well, we thought let's try and see that if removing all these pages actually helps us recover from the penalty. And well, after that, really, we just waited almost 3 to 4 months to see if it recovered. Obviously, it was painful as we stopped getting more clients from SEO, and at the beginning, it was our first channel. So after that, after the 3-4 months, without seeing any results, we actually started creating human content written by us, and also at a much at a lower scale, right? Just a couple, maybe 3-4 pages per month. And these pages that we were creating also, they weren't getting indexed. So we just requested it. Nothing was getting indexed. Actually, all of them, almost all of them were being de-indexed. So then we had the rebranding idea, and it was not only because of the SEO thing, but also because we received a cease and desist from another company, which is German, because of the name similarity. And well, we just said maybe it's time to do a rebranding and just kill these two things at once.
Okay. So kind of walk through that process. So March, you wake up one morning, everything is gone. Your index pages weren't gone right away, but the traffic was. And then over the course of a couple weeks, you see your index pages drop back to 1, just your home page is live. You go through a process of removing the AI pages. That was sort of the first sort of actionable step that you took, was actually to pull off the AI content. And that really didn't seem to move the needle at all. Like it basically stayed where it was in sort of that penalized space. Okay. And then you started to look at republishing and rewriting with some human content. Were you posting back on the same URLs and just using human content, but kind of doing that progressively, starting again from the homepage and then working your way out with some of the more successful, more valuable pages?
Yeah, we did that like in the same URLs with changing content to human content. And we also did completely new pages with new content, and neither both of them worked.
Okay. And then in terms of looking at that, when you were going through with that content strategy, were you doing anything else to try and get Google to crawl those pages, index those pages? When they were republished, did it re-index them at all, or did they just stay de-indexed?
Yeah, it didn't index them again. We tried submitting them through Search Console. We tried running some scripts. We tried using some of the indexing service available. Nothing actually helped. We tried all the things, getting more backlinks to the page. Also, nothing worked.
Okay. So yeah, and again, one of the other challenges we see a lot is the SEO industry. It's sort of easy to get into, but it's really hard to know what's happening. There's a lot of great guys like you, actually, who have that backstory of like, I did SEO as part of a earlier business. I had a pretty good handle based on what I did there. I think I know what's going to work. And that's where a lot of SEO businesses and consultants tend to come from, as sort of a one-off case study. And then maybe they replicate a little bit of what they did elsewhere. but very few sort of have access to scale. And that creates a lot of the confusion I think you experienced, where like someone, one guy is just saying like, oh no, it's just trying to figure out what the content's about. Well, okay, well, that doesn't seem like that matches what we saw happen. And the other guy is saying, oh, this is definitely a penalty, but we don't know how to fix it, which is a different story altogether. Was that frustrating? I mean, like, obviously it sounds like you paid some folks as well. Like there's some money lost along the way. Was that, kind of a bit of a frustrating journey for you?
Yeah, it was very frustrating because basically, like, we are bootstrapped. We don't have a lot of money, and SEO was a big channel that we had invested a lot of time. Maybe not a lot of money. Obviously, like running the scripts cost us some money, but it was not the main, like a big pain. But yeah, all the time that we had invested was something that we were trying to make it grow and make it an important channel, an acquisition channel for our business. And well, just it disappeared, right? So we had to start looking at other solutions. After that, we started running paid ads on some of the platforms to see if we could kind of recover this traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we were seeing that paid traffic was much more expensive. So yeah, it was very very frustrating, and maybe obviously there was a part in which we were thinking we did not do this correctly, right? So it was frustrating at the same time, but it was not we felt part of the burden that we had done something wrong. So I mean, it did help us accelerate some things, like in trying and build new acquisition channels, trying and accelerating also the rebranding, which probably we would have delayed a lot more. So yeah, some great things came after that, which are not all too bad.
So talk to me today about your AI use in marketing. Are you still using AI for copy? And if so, what sort of safeguards do you have in place, especially that you've gone through this rebranding and a new domain and all of that?
Yeah, so right now it's true that we're using mainly to ideate new content, like to come up with new ideas on the content that we should write. Basically doing all the keyword research. That's something that we are using AI for. But and then after the content writing, we usually use it to also kind of polish the articles, try and review that everything's correct. Maybe in some cases trying and expand it a bit more with tools like the OpenAI deep research. It helps us build some more background information on the things that we are writing. But we try and avoid just letting the AI write the content from scratch, because we feel that after that it's very difficult to rewrite it entirely as a human, and it just biases us a lot. So we try and just use it on the first stage of the ideation when writing new content, then at the last stage before publishing the new content. And also we try and publish a lot less content than we were doing back then. Maybe we publish at most 5 new pages per week. And also back then we were trying and targeting long tail keywords, a lot of them. And right now we are mainly targeting a lot of the main keywords for our business.
Okay, so more top of funnel type of terms, things that are maybe a little bit broader, maybe even a little bit more competitive, but kind of building your way down. Okay. If you were looking at sort of recommendations for other small business owners who are in that spot, maybe we want to see growth, especially through SEO, and AI just seems pretty positive. It seems like I'm seeing a lot of Reddit content that says there's no such thing as, AI SEO penalties. What are sort of the things that you would offer from your experience, and as maybe like a 3 or 4 key takeaways, if you will?
So first thing, our mistake was trying overdo it. I think that it was working at first. If we had just kept doing that, it would probably just work fine for us. So not trying and overdoing it, as like AI invites you to do it and to just do everything at scale, do 100 things at once, publish a lot of pages. So I think that was the first mistake. Then the second one, and that's something that we should have done, is trying before starting publishing all these AI content, just not forgetting about the first things, right? Not forgetting about building some authority, not forgetting about building some real traffic before adding all these content. So yeah, basically, first thing would be all the not trying to overdo it. Second thing would be not forgetting about the most basic things, and then the third thing that I would say is that probably we should have reacted faster. We waited until 3 to 4 months, just praying that it would recover, but the truth is it was looking very bad, right, since the beginning. So probably we lost 3 months of work there, and we could have recovered faster if we just acted faster.
I think there's often this recommendation of, wait and see when stuff is happening in SEO. And I so often I think, like, if you're seeing a significant sustained downturn that isn't related to your industry, isn't related to your business, it's going to be something related to Google. And yes, Google loves to say, the best thing you can do is wait and see. If you lose after an algorithm update, it's not necessarily bad SEO. A lot of times it is. Sometimes there's just something that you can do to change and improve and meet what Google thinks its consumers are going to want in the future. So I really appreciate you joining us and sharing today. I'd love to have you back and talk a little bit more about some of your experiences there. Before we hop off the line, any quick call outs, highlight your business for us? I think some people would be really interested in what you guys do, and if you have any offers or promotions that might be available, a URL that's good to visit, etc.
Sure. Well, Tailride basically is good for you if you're trying to spend less time on all the pre-accounting stuff that you have to do, that your accounting doesn't currently handle. What we do mainly is we extract all payment documents, bank extracts, invoices, receipts from a lot of sources, emails, portals. A lot of these documents are extracted automatically by us. We process them actually using AI, and then we send all these documents directly to your destinations like QuickBooks, Xero, and any software that you're using, so that you can spend less time just on this administrative stuff that, as a business, you have to do. And then as a promotion, basically, for this podcast, we're running a 15% discount on all our plans forever, and the code is Coalition.
Awesome. And then the URL, the new URL
The new
for
URL,
you is?
Yeah, it's tailride.so.
All right, .so. Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, I so appreciate having you on, Miki. We'll get you back on and share some updates for the business as you guys grow, talk a little SEO strategy maybe. But best of luck, and stay out of Google's crosshairs the next time.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care. Bye.